What's going on, guys? This is Dave from PNP, and I'm here to talk to you about Underdog Fantasy. I just want to remind you that's the easiest place to play. There ain't too many places where you can win 20 times your money in the same night, utilizing higher lowers in the pick'em game. And now they have pick'em insurance, where while you won't win the same amount of money that you did before, you can miss one and still bring home some money. So if you do it 3 times, you could potentially still get your money back if you end up missing one. Go to UnderdogFantasy.com and sign up today and use the code PNP when you do. And the $100 deposit match still stands. Underdog Fantasy. What's going on, guys? This is Dave. Rashad is going to be a little bit late. This man is a busy man, and I apologize for the light, and it's a mess. And I'm going to have to apologize for the mic in advance as well. And I'll tell you why you don't see my mic stand today, and it's going to be hilarious. But we'll get into that. But I just want to let you guys know, today is the finals for PNP Mania. So we are going to go through the finals. I got the questions. I got my tiebreaker question. I'm ready to rock tonight with regards to PNP Mania. And we're going to finish this thing off tonight. We're going to crown a champion tonight. But I'm trying to buy some time before so Rashad will get here. But in the meantime, I hope you guys had a phenomenal weekend. I know I finished up moving this weekend. So I'm about to close on my house. I'm about to move to a new place within the city. So it's going to be good. But let me tell you what happened to me before I went live so you can understand why I have no mic, why you're hearing all this noise in the background most likely. I'm hoping the audio's good. But either way, so I'm setting up my show like I normally do. Got my tables going, got everything rocking. And my mic stand decides to collapse on me. Pieces fall apart. Matter of fact, I got a piece of it right here. Like it decided to say, you know what, we've had enough of you. Whole thing fell off. You know what I'm saying? So that's what happened to me. So I had to pretty much call an audible. And because the rest of my mics are packed, I got to roll with the computer mic. So if the audio's bad, I'm sorry. Shout out to the Queen City Podcast Network. They do outstanding work to make sure that our podcast is sitting in the great spot because our podcast is available now on Apple Podcasts. It's on Spotify. It's everywhere that you can find a podcast. It's everywhere now. So I know he's not going to be probably a fan of the audio, but we're going to see how it works this week. But it's going to be good. But yes, V and Marcus is here for the finals. They're in the background. If you want to see them, they could say hi to you real fast. What's going on, V? What's going on, Marcus? I'm going to push them back out in a few minutes, but I'll let them have a little bit of shine. How you gentlemen doing today?
Phenomenal.
I'm not ready, but we're ready to go, I guess.
You better be ready. You had 2 weeks. Both of you.
Yeah, man. Let's see what happens.
No, I mean, it's good. To get here is an accomplishment in itself.
Yep.
To get here is an accomplishment in itself.
I promise I will be here, and I'm here.
Yeah.
What happens beyond here, I don't know. I was confident
look,
before, but...
Nah.
Rashad, what does the winner get? Rashad got a prize. We got a prize. We got a prize for you. We got a prize. We definitely got a prize. Rashad is holding secrets on me, but Rashad got something good for you guys for the winner of this one. This is gonna be good. I will say that.
Aren't you gonna give up a Kevin Benjamin signed jersey at one point?
I have one still. I almost dumped it while I was packing. I made the decision not to. I made the executive decision to keep it, but I almost did. But, I decided. Grandauser, man, I got like a slither of hair left, bro. Like, I got like a slither of hair left, Grandauser. Just a little. Not that much. It's just a little. It ain't much. Yeah, V's a problem, bro. Marcus, you might have met your match, brother. You might have met your match, but it's going to be a good one. I got some tough questions for this one. I got some tough ones. I got some easy ones too, but we'll get into that. I didn't want to talk about the Hall of Honor until Rashad gets here, but I'll give you. I want to start with "I Told You So" because when they announced that they had 2 seats at the Hall of Honor, I said it's going to be Moose and Pep. And lo and behold, it was Moose and Pep. And I know we'll probably bring it up again when Rashad gets here, but Marcus, what are your thoughts on Moose and Pep getting into the Hall of Honor?
thought that the criteria was supposed to be like 5 years after they retired, but I guess that did meet it. So I thought they were going to wait to the Hall of Fame for Pep, but kind of get it in conjunction. But makes sense. With Muhammad, I thought that for whatever reason, I thought that he would be further down the line. I thought that
Really?
maybe there should be somebody before him. It just seems like there should be somebody better, I guess, but not that he's bad, but it just seems like there should be somebody better. But I couldn't think of anybody, so I guess it makes sense.
When you look at the wide receivers that this franchise has had, he's probably the second best one we've ever had.
I actually
Is
have an
that saying
autograph
much?
helmet for him.
What'd you say, V?
I actually have an autograph helmet of him, so I'm a pretty big fan of what he did for the franchise. But Pep is obvious though.
Yeah, Pepper's obvious, man. Like
You
that's
think
why I
this?
said me and Rashad had rumblings that Moose was going to get into the Hall of Honor, which absolutely made sense, right? But it was about the second person, and the only person I could think of was Pat. Like it had to be Pat, and I think that the Panthers are also using this as a leveraging piece to push folks into the Hall of Fame too. But I think Peppers in the Hall of Fame is a no brainer. I don't think there should be a debate about Julius Peppers being on the Hall of Fame. He's the only player in NFL history with 150 sacks and 10 interceptions. Like, he's going to the Hall. He should be first ballot. Like, there shouldn't be a question about Julius Peppers. But, you know, like, when you think about guys like Steve Smith Sr., who should already be, should be there, like, I think this helps. You don't think he should be in the Hall of Fame?
No, I think he should be in the Hall of Fame. Though a lot of people were saying first ballot for him, and even 50. And there's a lot of people
I
that.
I wouldn't have had an issue with first ballot, considering some of the other first ballots they've had.
Oh, there's a lot of people I
But
wouldn't put him above.
no, I get it. But there's some folks that you wouldn't put them above that weren't first ballot either. You follow
Yeah.
me? So. But my point is, but there's also some people that were first ballot where I would question. Like I know, let me be, and like I know folks will get mad when I say this, particularly Lions fans. 'Cause shout out to Roar the Lions UK. I love Megatron. I love Megatron. Shouldn't have been first ballot. Shouldn't have been first ballot. And it's not because he wasn't an amazing wide receiver. It was more because he didn't have a long enough career to screen first ballot for me. Not
Say
saying he
that,
wasn't.
Luke shouldn't get in.
Repeat that again, Marcus. I missed you.
If you say that, Luke shouldn't get in.
Luke got a Defensive Player of the Year.
Megatron played for the Lions.
Oh, so that automatically puts him in because he played for the Lions?
It helps.
Megatron did play for the Lions.
But then again, they're
Luke's
getting
gonna
ready
get
to
it.
put Matt
Luke,
Stafford
Luke,
in the Hall of Fame, so I don't know.
well, Luke and Patrick Willis is going to be an interesting conversation. With regards to that, I will say that. That is, I will say, like Luke will absolutely. That's going to be an interesting one. But yeah, I understand that. I understand that, but I think if you're gonna put Luke in, you got to put Patrick Willis in. You got to be consistent with regards to that.
I mean, Bobby Wagner goes in before either.
You think so?
Yep. He's done more, played longer, done just as much, and played longer. But do you think with this Moose, this is close the chapter on the first kind of generation of the Panthers? Do you think that like John Casey ever gets in? Do you think fans ever forgive
Yeah,
him for the
Casey's
Super
going
Bowl?
to get in. Casey's going to get in. I think the question is going to be whether or not he'll accept. Because I think the last time they did something for him, I think he was still shocked that people are still talking about the fact he kicked that ball out of bounds in Super Bowl 38.
This is stupid, but a lot of fans never got past it. But I wouldn't
Listen,
put like
man,
Menor or
let-
Rucker in there.
Hey, Cash, let me be clear. I'm not saying Megatron is not a Hall of Famer. I'm just saying, based on the standards of what they've done for first ballot Hall of Famers for wide receivers, Megatron wouldn't fit the bill. Like, I'm just going based on the consistency. Just like when folks got on my neck about when I said Steve Smith probably wasn't going to get in as the first ballot. They didn't think I felt like he was, but I just know how I just know how those voters are when it came to that position in first ballot Hall of Famers. And, you know, there's some players that should have been first ballot that wasn't. Like, T.O. wasn't a first ballot Hall of Famer. He should have been. T.O. should have been. But he wasn't. But Megatron is.
Who's left in that log jam, though? A lot of them's been getting in. Is like Isaac Bruce and guys like that in there?
I think Steve Smith is the last lead. Like, I think he's the leading wide receiver right now that isn't in yet.
Like Harrison, guys like that. Are they in there?
Who?
Marvin Harrison and
Harrison's
Isaac
in already.
Bruce.
Bruce is not in, I don't think. I got to
Torrey Holt and guys like that.
Holt's not in.
Yeah, I think Holt's got to go in first.
I disagree. Not based off the numbers. He shouldn't.
Similar numbers in Super Bowl. Super Bowls trumps whatever.
Smith got better numbers than Holt.
Holt got rings.
That ain't enough, bro. That shouldn't be enough. You can't control the quarterbacks you play with. Steve Smith might not play. Steve Smith might not play with a Hall of Fame quarterback. The closest one might be Cam. And he only had Cam for 2 seasons, 3 seasons. Like, let's not do that.
Holt had,
and that's not a knock on the quarterback that Steve played with, because Steve had quarterbacks that played out of his mind. But let's not do that.
I mean, but Holt had some trash quarterbacks too.
But Holt had Kurt Warner, bro.
How great
Holt was part of the greatest show on turf.
And they also crashed too. You
just said rings. You just said rings. That man was part of the greatest show on turf.
Sure.
Fred Taylor's not in the Hall of Fame yet. He'll get in, though. I think Fred will get in. Fred will get in. He should get in. All right. Andre Johnson is not in the Hall of Fame yet.
I would put him above Sif too.
That was now. If you want to talk about comparable numbers, now that's close. That's close. Those are close.
He played with David Carr and put up numbers.
He didn't just play with David Carr.
Steve Smith couldn't put up numbers with David Carr.
I mean,
do you guys think Antonio Brown? Do you guys think Antonio Brown is a first ballot?
No.
He should be. If Megatron is, why isn't Antonio?
He'll never get in.
Yeah, I think he'll get in, but he's going to have to wait a while. I think his antics is going to... That's the problem with wide receivers. When it comes to that position, the antics override the numbers. And it shouldn't work that way. Because the numbers say that he should get in. You can argue whether or not he's first ballot or not, but the numbers say he should get in. But it's something always strange about the wide receiver position in the Hall of Fame. Because, like, we have a debate about whether or not Eli Manning is going to get in. And whether or not he's first ballot. Yeah, like, there's folks that I think Eli's probably going to... I think Eli's a Hall of Famer. I don't think he should be first ballot. But a lot of folks say that he should be.
Yeah,
there's debates about Matt Ryan and...
If his name was Eli Davis or something, he wouldn't be a Hall of Famer.
No, he got 2 Super Bowl rings.
Yeah,
but the Patriots.
Was he?
I mean, he should go in the Hall of Fame.
He's going, but is he really elite? He was elite in the playoffs. I guess that's when it really counts. But
so that means are we gonna pack the bag for Joe Flacco to put him in the Hall? He was leading the playoffs too.
I mean, he just had one good year, one great year.
Well, Eli had 2. Eli had 2. You give it a buck. Like let's not like I mean, what are we talking about here? I mean, what are we talking about here? Oh yeah, he better be first ballot. I completely agree. Fitz should take Fitz should take 20 seconds, but he's not eligible yet. And that's the thing too. Like Steve Smith needs to get in before he's eligible, because Fitz is going to jump that line. So does Andre Johnson. They both need to get in before he's eligible. They should just have like a wide receiver Hall of Fame year and get all these wide receivers and fix this log jam. I don't think Andre Reed is in.
Really?
I have to double check that.
I thought he got in like 10 years ago.
Let me check that. Let me see. I could be wrong. I've been wrong before. Yo, he did get in. You're right. He got in 2014. I stand corrected. All right. I gave Rashad 17 minutes. He ain't here yet, so I'm going to go ahead and get started with this trivia game. He said he was going to be a few minutes late. Hold on. Oh, yeah, he ain't going to make it. All right, so I got to start. He's probably going to be super late. So let me go ahead and start this trivia game. And we'll get through some of the topics. So we'll get through some of the topics. One of the topics was about the Hall of Honor. So shout out to Mushin Muhammad. Shout out to Julius Peppers. I think both of these were no-brainer players to get into the Hall of Honor. All right, let me go get a coin so I can flip this coin real quick. Figure out who's going to go first. I believe Marcus is at the top of the bracket. So Marcus is heads, V is tails. I'm pretty sure of that. I'm not 100% sure, but either way, Marcus is heads, V is tails. All right? So give me 1 second. Oh, I should probably explain the rules. For those who don't know, this is the first, for those who aren't aware of PNP Mania. I'm gonna ask each individual questions. Whoever wins the coin toss will get the first question. Each question is a point. All right. If they get the question correct, if they get the question incorrect, the other person can steal. First to 5 wins. If we get to our 10 questions, actually I have 12. I think I have 13 questions tonight. How many questions do I have tonight? I have 13 questions. I have 12 questions. I ain't gonna do 13 because I don't have. All right, I have 12 questions. If it's tied after we get to, if we don't get the 5 by the end of the 12 questions, which I think we're going to, I got a tiebreaker question for y'all. So I hope y'all got y'all Sharpie and your paper because you're gonna need it for this tiebreaker question. Okay? Any questions before we start?
Nope.
All right. Marcus is heads, V is tails. All right, V, you get the first question, man. It's tails. Oh, yeah, you should be able to see the camera. Oh, no, like, it ain't focusing, but it's tails. Y'all can tell that's the tail. All right, V, you're first. All right, V. Let me pull up the questions real quick. All right. Which head coach is the only head coach to have double-digit losing season in every full season he coached the Carolina Panthers?
Is this you said double digits? Is this Matt Rule?
That is correct. Matt Rule. Marcus, this question's for you, sir. Which head coach, not counting interim coaches, had the worst win percentage in Panthers history?
Again, that's probably got to be Matt Rule, right?
That is correct. It is Matt Rule. All right.
I didn't want to think about it. I thought it might be Dom Capers.
You better not think about this. I do things for a reason. So let's talk about Matt Rule real quick. And I quote, "Going through the fire in Carolina was a purifying fire that melts away all the impurities, all the hubris, all the worrying about stuff that doesn't matter. I learned very much to worry about what matters. I have a focus and a desire in me. I watched what my kids had to go through in Carolina, and we're not going to let them go through that here." Listen, man.
People booed him at a Hornets game.
Listen, bro. I understand that folks are gonna boo him, and maybe his kids would feel a way about it. And I'm never a fan of somebody going at chastising kids. But yo, you're gone. Let it go. It's over.
They didn't boo his kid.
Huh?
I remember that game. They didn't boo his kid. They booed him.
So, but that's my point. So why do you keep bringing your kid? Like, why do you keep bringing up your kids in this? Like, stop the madness. You're gone. You came here. You got your bag. You failed. Your legacy here as the Panthers is the worst coach that we've ever had. That's what it is. That's what it's going to be. And it's going to take a lot for that to change because before you showed up, every head coach had at least a season where they didn't have double-digit losing seasons. You know, so you're the worst one we've had. You have set the bar. It is very low. So you went to Nebraska. Congrats. You got back on your feet. You got a chance to build your program there. Maybe they'll give you 7 years there, but stop doing this nonsense. You can tell the media person, you know what, Carolina's Carolina. I've moved on, and be done with it. And then you won't have to hear people like me say something about it. But you create the situation for folks to bring these things back up. You don't help yourself when you do this. So let it go. No, it's not Seifert. It's not Seifert.
He flirted with
Like,
the
it's not
playoffs.
Seifert. Huh?
He flirted with the playoffs with Seifert.
Yeah, Seifert almost made the playoffs one year. He almost made the playoffs in 99. Like, let's keep it a buck. Like, Rule tried to take credit for Wilkes' success when he got fired. Wilkes went 6-6 with the same players that he had, with less players than he had. They traded McCaffrey and let Baker go. Like, let's do this. Like, it's just there's a lot of bitterness there because it didn't work out, and I understand that. When you get fired, that happens. Like, when you get let go from a job that you think that you're good at, that can happen. You might feel a type of way. I understand that. I get it. But you call yourself a manager. Now, somebody that's a manager, I'm bothered by the fact that you're acting like this. Grow up. Grow up. Move on. All right? I just want to listen. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I only had one Matt Rule question. I had these questions done a week before this because we were scheduled to do this on the 4th. But then he out here doing quotes. And I added another Matt Rule question. So make sure nobody gets shut out, okay? And to prove my point, to have this discussion point. It's too bad Rashad isn't here, but he can watch this segment when he watches this segment. It's a shame. But carry on. Let's continue. We're tied at 1-1. V, the next question is yours. All right. How many quarterbacks threw for 4,000 yards in a season?
How many quarterbacks threw for 4,000 yards in a season? Is it 2?
That is correct. It is 2. Marcus. This is a tough one, bro. I'm sorry. There were two running backs in franchise history that ran for 1,000 yards in a season at the age of 29, which is also the oldest age in franchise history to accomplish that feat. Who are those two running backs?
Well, one is Stephen Davis. I gotta think about the other one. You said ran for 1,000 yards at 29. So, it's got to be one of 3 people. I'm just trying to remember which one it would be.
Don't say them all, because then he's gonna.
Let me think. It would have had to be Stewart.
That is incorrect.
All right.
V, what you got, man?
I'm gonna say Stephen Davis, and Anthony Johnson.
That is correct. Stephen Davis and Anthony Johnson.
Yeah, I couldn't remember how old Anthony Johnson was.
Yeah, he was 29 when he ran that 1,000-yard season. All right. All right, V. Let me go ahead and knock these out real quick. All right, the score right now is 3-1. It's
2-1, right?
Well, no, because no, it's 3-1 because he got
the rule question.
You got both of y'all got a rule question, so that's 1-1. Then he got the QBs for 4,000 yards question.
Oh yeah, okay.
Then he just stole, so that's 3-1. So this is for V. All right, V. Which player has the longest reception in franchise history?
Ooh, longest reception. Um, is this is this um is this Steve Smith?
That is incorrect. Marcus, you could steal. This will help you out a lot, sir. You need this one.
Hmm.
Which player has the longest reception in franchise history?
Regular season or the playoffs, so it doesn't matter.
Uh regular season.
Oh boy. I was gonna say Muhammad, but
I want to believe
uh,
both. I want to believe both, but I'm pretty sure this is definitely
I'll go
regular
with
season.
Muhammad.
That is incorrect. It's Brandon LaFell.
Really?
Yeah.
What game was this?
I don't know the game, but it was for 91 yards.
I can't imagine him outrunning anybody.
I didn't say what makes you think he outran anybody.
Oh, okay.
Somebody posted it in the chat too, but obviously I couldn't say it. Somebody posted it. Hold on, where's it at?
And I wouldn't have believed it.
Yeah, they misspelled the fell, but somebody definitely posted it earlier. There it
He doesn't
is.
deserve his name spelled right.
Well, Marcus, this is your question, sir. All right. Marcus, who is the only 1,000-yard rusher that averaged over 100 yards rushing per game in a season for the Panthers?
You said 1,000 yards, who averaged 100 yards per game.
Yes.
Hmm. Probably one or two people, but I'm going to go probably Davis, right?
Stephen Davis is correct. All right. You needed that one, bro. If you would have missed that one, you would have been in trouble. The score is 3-2. All right. V.
Yes.
Which player has the longest punt in franchise history?
Ooh, longest punt. Is this Andy Lee?
That is correct. Marcus. Who holds the franchise record for most receptions in a season?
I guess I'll go with Smith then.
That is incorrect. V, if you get this right, you win.
Yeah, this is Christian McCaffrey.
That is correct.
Oh yeah, I should have got that one.
Come on, man. You should have got that one. Well, V, congrats, bro. You did it.
So much.
They called you the AI, but you knew your stuff, bro. And shout out to Marcus for getting to the finals, because some of these questions were hard. I got some other ones that I ain't get to that we can go over if you want.
Yeah, we can.
Why not?
Shout out to V.
Yeah.
Huh?
Did it.
Did you say put dirt on the grave, man?
Yeah, man.
Oh, Lord. You're fine, man. You made it to the finals. I mean, a lot of folks would have loved to go to the finals. Congrats to V, though. That's what's up.
Congrats.
Thank you so much.
That's what's up, man.
Thank
Because it was, let me tell you something. For one, it took a lot to volunteer to do this. And two, it takes a lot to get this far. So shout out to both of you guys. But anyway, I got other questions. All right. Which NFL team do the Carolina Panthers have the highest win percentage total against?
you. Is this for me?
It doesn't matter. Whoever wants to say it. You
I
can go
think
for it, V.
I would say it's the Saints.
What do you think, Marcus?
I wouldn't say the Saints. I think they're like 500 against them. I guess I'm trying to roll through my head. If I had like the teams in front of me, I could probably go a lot faster. But Just a wild guess. The Cardinals. If I had more time to think, I probably can get it. But
Rashad picked this question. I just want to let y'all know this, and it was the Chargers.
really,
The,
I only played them like what 3 times.
we probably more than 3 times, but it's the Chargers.
Hmm.
Oh, win.
Remember win percentage. Everybody's picking all the teams that we play a lot. So you know it had to be somebody. Like I would have probably eliminated anybody unless it was the only team that I probably would consider in the NFC would probably be the Cardinals, like you said, right? But but when you start considering all the other teams that we play on the AFC, it's probably some of those other guys.
Probably would have thought the 49ers. We have a pretty good win percentage against them.
All
Oddly
right,
enough.
so here's another question for you guys. Who is the career leader in QB hits?
Oh, people who hit
Marcus,
the
you can go
quarterback.
first on this one.
Quarterback hits. Somebody who played a long time. Davis? I don't know.
I
What do you
would
think, V?
I would say Charles Johnson.
Charles Johnson is correct. Charles Johnson was getting to that quarterback, man.
So does that count like pressures or?
It just said QB hits. This is another Rashad question. I have no idea. I never he added additional questions at the end. Like I already had 10 lined up. And he added additional questions at the end. I was going to get to him. I added those two just in case if we needed them at the end. But we didn't need them. So, all right. So we got here's a question that I eliminated after the Matt Rule fiasco. Who's the first head coach to not lead the Panthers to the playoffs?
The first one was got to be Seifert.
What about you, V?
I say Seaford as well.
Yep, it's Seifert. Seifert got grace because of Matt Rule's antics.
He was bad, but we would have never made it to the Super Bowl if it wasn't for him.
Oh, I completely agree. That 2001 draft was pivotal for us getting to the Super Bowl. If it wasn't for that draft, we wouldn't have gotten there. Point blank, period.
And people always forget that he was the one who got Jerry Richardson to change his philosophy to build through the draft instead of spending wild money in free agency. He was the one who convinced them of that.
That's a
Because
fact.
before we were like Washington, just throwing money at people, and it never worked.
Which is and it's funny because when we were as a franchise, we were so built like this. Like Jerry Richardson used to always be about being like the Pittsburgh Steelers, and that's not how the Pittsburgh Steelers built teams. We were like the opposite of that when we first came into the NFL. So Seifert changing that philosophy to say we need to grow within the draft was the right thing to do, because the Steelers historically doesn't really pay their players like that. They don't. They'll pay their quarterback occasionally, but they don't really pay their players like that. Whenever they do, you get folks like Antonio Brown.
That's a name I would like to forget. People always say that Jimmy Clausen was the worst quarterback we ever had. Jeff Lewis is probably the worst.
It's funny you say that.
Rest in peace.
When we interview Steve Berline, he is still mad about how he got cut after that season, because they made the decision to go with Jeff Lewis instead of keeping him for another year.
I mean, to be fair, Jeff Lewis was good in Denver, but whatever happened when he came to Carolina, he had that injury playing basketball or something. He never was the same, and that was why he traded him to us. But we weren't supposed to have Winky that year. He wasn't supposed to be the starter. It was supposed to be Jeff Lewis.
I remember.
Jeff Lewis he bombed in the first preseason game, and then he said, "I'm gonna go into the playbook. You're going to see a whole new dude." But he didn't realize he was going against the 2000 Ravens defense, and threw three passes and 3 straight interceptions, and we never saw him again.
It's a friendly reminder that we've had some rough quarterbacks in these streets. All right, I got 2 more questions. These 2 questions are playoff-based questions. In the 2005 wildcard game, Who caught 2 interceptions from Eli Manning on the way to a 23-0 shutout against the New York Giants in East Rutherford, New Jersey? And Marcus, you should know the answer to this question because you was at this game with me. You should know the
Yeah,
answer to this
no,
one.
that's a bad one.
You should know the answer to this one, but you might not know the answer to this one. You should know the answer to this because we were at this game together for this one.
Yeah. I really don't know. This is bad because I was at the game.
We weren't. Yo, it was Eli Manning's first playoff game too.
23
Crazy
nothing.
enough.
I can't remember.
23-0 shutout. We shut them out in Giant Stadium. You don't know? B, do you know?
No, I don't know either.
Marlon McCree.
Wow. I remember him. He was good for that 1 year, and then we didn't pay him.
Nope,
He went
sure
to the
didn't.
Chargers.
Yep, Marlon McCree. Yeah, my man A-Cash said, I'm just going to name them all. It was Marlon McCree.
He was on the team yet, wasn't he? came in
Yes, he was. I believe he was.
The championship game that year. And they
Yes.
lost to the Seahawks. Yeah, he
We
was.
went to the championship game on the back of Steve Smith Sr. and Nick Goings.
Yeah,
And Nick
Everybody
Goings.
that was the year.
That was the game before the game where Steve Smith freaking destroyed the Bears.
Yeah. That Ron Rivera
All right.
defense.
Oh yeah. All right. In the 2015 NFC Championship game, who caught 2 interceptions from Carson Palmer on the way to a 49-14 blowout against the Arizona Cardinals in the Bay? This one should be easier.
I don't know why I thought it was Luke Kuechly for whatever reason. If not
You-
him,
Oh,
What are you thinking, V?
it's Kurt Coleman.
It is Kurt Coleman. Kurt Coleman he got 2 picks in that game.
well, everybody
I didn't want to use the 3 interception game against Ricky Manning Jr. That was too easy. Like I felt like anybody would have known that. Like I was trying to have some tough ones in these streets.
Mm.
And my tiebreaker question was, since we had 2 players going to the Hall of Honor, and although we have not interviewed neither one of the players that were selected for the Hall of Honor, I decided to have a PNP based question. PNP has a Legend series where we interview Panther Legends. Name the Panther Legends that we've interviewed, and I was going to give a point per player. Give you guys a minute to do it. We've interviewed a decent chunk of them. So, I mean,
go ahead and
we've
say
interviewed a
it
lot
here.
of them. Huh?
Go ahead and say it here or write it down. Or...
You could. I mean, nah, you good. You don't got to name them. We've interviewed. I can name a couple. We've interviewed Stephen Davis. We've interviewed Mike Mennel. We've interviewed Steve Smith Sr., Greg Hardy. Ricky Manning Jr. We've interviewed a decent chunk of folks from the Super Bowl teams for sure. And there's still more. Zylstra is not. I'm not going to say he's not a legend, but he was the first interview we ever done. The Legend series are pretty much for folks that were no longer in the league, that came from great teams from the franchise, that did a lot. Steve Berline, those guys.
Is Zylstra still in the league?
He is still in the league. He plays
He
for
still play for the Lions?
Detroit.
Or was
I
that
think he's
his
still in
brother?
Detroit. Where is Zylstra now? I think he's still in Detroit if I remember correctly.
I knew he did sign with somebody else. I just didn't remember who.
He plays for it says here Detroit. It says here Detroit for now. I don't know if he's but he was only a practice squad member for Detroit. I'm not sure if he's on a roster right now, to be honest with you.
Mm.
Probably should reach out to him, see how he's doing. The last time I checked, he was with Detroit. But yeah, Rashad sent me a text saying he probably wasn't going to make it tonight. But yeah, he's a free agent. They say Google says he's a free agent. So Silver's a free agent right now. Since y'all keep hating the wide receivers, y'all wanted to go get him? Everybody keep hating on wide receivers right now. Y'all want us to go get him?
rather have him as Shai Smith.
Shot. Let me tell you something, bro. Uh, DeAndre Hopkins still hasn't signed yet. I don't
No.
think that's a worst. That's a worst case scenario for Shot Smith if DeAndre Hopkins signs. I'll tell you that.
Can he
Let me
play
see
defensive
here.
end? Can he play corner?
Oh man, corner. They just recently ranked the best corners in the league. I guess a bunch of executives did. Patrick Surtain was number one, which
Oh,
they recently some NFL executives ranked the top corners in the league in the NFL, and Patrick Surtain was ranked number one
over Gardner?
over Gardner. Gardner was number two.
Oh,
J.C.
damn.
Horn. J.C. Horn was honorable mention.
That's fair. I mean, Sertan is a better player, but not that JC's bad. He just hasn't been healthy long enough.
No, J.C.'s not bad. I think folks think just because I felt like we should have taken Surtain over Horn, people think that I think that JC's bad. It's not that at all. I think JC's a great football player. I think he could be one of the best corners in the NFL, and I think he's already shown that he is when he's healthy. But Surtain is different, and he's shown it. And he's also shown that he fits what Evero wants to do because he played under that defense.
Do you guys think Yetur is gonna start?
Oh God, I hope not. I think Marquise Haynes is going to start personally. I think Haynes is going to win that job. Like I felt like Haynes was going to win that. I felt like Haynes was brought back to go to start opposite Burns.
I think Etor is one of those dudes that they're going to showcase for like a late and trade him for like a late pick or something like that.
Yep. I think we're going to try to trade him. But I don't know if they're going to be able to get enough to trade him. That's the problem. Like, that's the dilemma, right? Like, it's easy to talk about, oh, yeah, we're just going to showcase him to trade him. But it's to get 31, another NFL team to convince them that, hey, you should take this guy. That's a whole different conversation. But I like Haynes a lot. So I think Haynes could definitely be the guy opposite Burns, for sure. So that's why I'm rooting for to win that job. I think Haynes is going to start, and I don't know how folks feel about it, but I think if you want to talk about somebody that can set the edge and can rush the passer, that's our best bet out of everybody else that's available. Everybody else are situational pass rush guys. We got to have somebody that we can consistently depend on, and that would be
Over
Haynes.
Clowney?
Who?
Over Clowney?
If we sign Clowney, then that's a different ball game. But Clowney's not here yet.
Yeah.
I was
Clowney's not here.
I was going through Instagram and I was seeing defensive end rankings, and they had Brian Burns at like 6 and Hassan Reddick at like 4. And I still remember how like we literally gave up Hassan Reddick to basically pay Ian Thomas.
Oh, Dante Jackson too.
Mm-hmm. The problem was more Dante than Ian Thomas. I mean, I say it all the time. If you ask me, do you pay the pass rusher or the corner? I'm going to tell you to pay the pass rusher 10 out of 10 times.
Keep in mind we let Gilmore go too.
Well, that's a whole different situation. And Gilmore wanted to stay. That's the thing that bugged me about that. Gilmore wanted to stay. So I just let Rashad know that V won. So Rashad is definitely going to reach out to you about the prize whenever he gets done with what he's getting done. He's dealing with stuff in Myrtle Beach this week. So he's a busy guy. So he does his thing. But let me tell you something. A great pass rush negates a mediocre secondary too. I thought about putting a trivia question about who was the starting corners for the 2013 Carolina Panthers. I thought about putting that up there.
Wasn't Drayton Florence starting that?
Drayton Florence and Melvin White.
Oof. I liked Melvin White back then.
He wasn't good. Josh Norman got benched that year.
Josh Norman was trash back then.
I know he was, but he was young. Well, he was old when he got
Not
drafted, but he
really.
was young from a player standpoint. So, but even though the league has turned into a pass first league and we're always passing the ball more, the philosophy still stands when it comes to a pass rush. A pass rush, the pass rush negates a bad secondary 10 out of 10 times. So, you know. But all right, there weren't too many topics this week, man. Unless you guys got anything else for me, and I'll probably do some Q&A real quick, and then I'm probably gonna close out, make it a short show tonight. Cause I know you got I hear all the sounds in the background in my ears. So I know some of you guys definitely hear it. If you don't, great, that's awesome. But I know my situation at hand right now with the mic. So
How do you feel
my
about
boat over
Bijan
here.
Robinson in fantasy?
What do I think of Bijan Robinson?
Yeah, in fantasy.
I think Bijan Robinson is he's top five in my list, and I owe you guys some fantasy stuff. And once I get moved into my new place, I'm gonna really dig into it. But I think right now, based on where he's getting drafted in some parts as a second or third best running back in fantasy. He has the potential to be a top five guy. But I'll tell you somebody that's being underdrafted. I'll go in and put that out there for you guys. And this is not my Panthers bias showing. I think Miles Sanders is getting severely underdrafted in these leagues, guys. I
Where's he getting drafted?
like he's going in the fifth, sixth round right now, and I think he's
That's
got top 10
underdrafted?
potential. Huh?
That's underdrafted?
Yeah, I think it is, because I think he has RB1 potential. I think he has top 12 RB potential. Like I think you could get
Wait a
him. I
minute.
think
No, in the past you said I don't trust Miles Sanders and do. Now he goes behind a worse offensive line than what he had in Philly, and all of a sudden he's
But
RB1.
but the difference is the thing about Philadelphia is that Philadelphia uses like 3 or 4 running backs. Frank Reich doesn't do that. Frank Reich is going to give him the rock. That's a different scenario now. In Philadelphia, yes, you're right. I said it. I don't trust them. But part of it is because there were other running backs and they would use like 3 or 4 rocks and they would have Jalen Hurts. So no, I wouldn't trust them. It's different now. They're gonna utilize him. They're gonna throw the ball to him. They're gonna utilize him more in the run game.
Miles Sanders scares me. He's a running back who got paid. Them hits hit
I
different.
think yeah, define get paid though. It's still underpaid to what these running backs are. It's underpaid compared to what McCaffrey got.
Yeah, I mean that's McCaffrey, and that was just stupid. But who else is in the running back market is getting paid like that?
Nobody now. That's over. I think that train is over now. But
So
I
he,
think from my standpoint, when you look at where Miles Sanders is going, like, and I'm not telling folks to like go crazy and start overdrafting him. But my thing is, if he's going in like the fifth or the sixth round right now, that gives you a golden opportunity. If you make the decision to go zero RB and you're able to get Miles Sanders to be your top running back, that ain't a bad situation if you got 2 top wide receivers starting or maybe a top flight tight end. That ain't a bad situation to be in if you got Miles Sanders as your top running back, is my point. If you could potentially get him in the fifth round or at the bottom of the fourth, that's phenomenal value. But
he's
he's been
doing the
going much
PNP.
lower than I anticipate him going. Like I even in best ball leagues, he's still going in crazy spots. Like I'm shocked. Like Miles has the potential to get 1,500 all-purpose yards this year because he's going to get the work. If he stays healthy, he should get the work. The problem is that in Philadelphia, he was already splitting the work, healthy or not. You know what I'm saying? He was already splitting the work with 2 other guys on top of having to worry about Jalen Hurts.
But there was a reason for that though in Philly. He wasn't really. People had problems with him, so they was starting to look for other people. And they wanted to phase him out.
Well, mission accomplished. But Frank Wright historically has shown that he wants to just get the ball to one guy. He doesn't
Yeah,
split
it's
the
easy
work
to
with
see when you
anybody.
got Jonathan Taylor. He ain't
That's
Jonathan
fine.
Taylor.
And then yeah, and look what happened with Jonathan Taylor last year. He got hurt.
Mhm.
So
Do
we'll
the
see.
Buccaneers have any other running backs except Rashid White or no?
I thought they had another guy.
Because I feel like Mike Evans is gonna suck this year.
Whoever the wide receiver one is for the Bucs, you decide who he is. Whoever that guy is going to suck. If you think Chris Godwin's the number one wide receiver in Tampa Bay, he's going to suck. If you think that Mike Evans is the wide receiver one, he's going to suck. Because Baker Mayfield is throwing to him. So in turn, the wide receiver one is going to suck. I am staying away from Bucs wide receivers this year. Not drafting them. Not doing it.
You can ball Brady. I mean, what's he going to do with him? He's going to be fighting him by the end of the year.
Bruh, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. I'm not touching him. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. If Evans is the one, I agree. I'm not doing it. I'm not touching it. Because Baker's there. I'm not doing it. Unless Baker loses that job,
So about
then we can have a discussion. Nah, I'm not
Would
doing
you touch
it.
Atlanta's receivers right now?
Drake London's interesting, but at the right place. I mean, Kyle Pitts is Kyle Pitts, but once again, at the right place. I think Atlanta's going to be the Bijan Robinson show. So, I think Atlanta's going to be the Bijan Robinson show.
I still can't believe like the Buccaneers really saw us with Baker Mayfield and said like, "This is the quarterback we're gonna rock with for our team." Like
I mean, he did all right with the Rams for a couple games.
I mean, but what were they going to get that was better? They weren't in a place to draft anybody, and there wasn't exactly a lot of people in free agency. So what were they going to do?
You guys really think Kyle Trask is that much worse than him?
Probably not.
I don't know. Probably. I mean, you're talking about a quarterback that's never played and taking the hits. You never know. But it'll be interesting if they have a legitimate competition. Is Kyle Pitts still getting overdrafted? I think any tight end other than Travis Kelce is overdrafted. Because that's the only tight end I trust. That's just my opinion on it. Like, I mean, Mark Andrews, you could probably roll with him a little later. TJ Hawkinson, you can roll with him a little later. But then after that, Kittle maybe, but that's it for me. After that, I ain't really trying to reach for nobody at the tight end spot. Because tight ends are always winning. Huh?
You trust Kittle this year with like Darnold throwing to him?
I trust San Francisco. I trust San Francisco. So I trust Kittle because I trust San Francisco. I have Kittle at number 4.
Do you like Nick Chubb? Because I think he's one of the most overdrafted people in fantasy.
I like Chubb. I mean, I think he's like borderline first, like late first round, early second. I think that Joe Mixon, where Mixon is going now, is interesting. But I know why they're concerned because they think they might actually split the work with him next year. But I'm still willing to take him in certain spots if like at the bottom of the second type of thing. So it just depends. But Nick Chubb, I mean, I understand folks taking him in the first round. But I think a lot of folks that, like, it's funny because I got an email. I'm in a Dynasty League, and we'll probably talk about that in a couple weeks. Cause I'm in a Dynasty League with another company. And it's going to be interesting about how I prepare for this Dynasty League. Because I don't do too many keepers in Dynasty League. So it's going to be intriguing how this goes. Because I don't want to embarrass myself. But it's going to be interesting how I maneuver that one. All right, let me see. Let's see. Should I draft Mingo? If so, where? You shouldn't have to draft him. I'll be honest with you. He should be in your free agency wire. Mingo is the type of guy you take in like the last 3 rounds. Like you got your roster built. and then you decide whether you're going to take a kicker, a punter, or a Mingo. That's where you should be taking Mingo. But most of the time, Mingo should be sitting in free agency.
Taking any of these rookie quarterbacks?
If I'm gonna take one, it's gonna probably be it'll probably be Richardson. If I'm gonna take one, I think if you ask me the order from a fantasy perspective, I would go Richardson, Stroud, Young, then Levis in that order. And that's not a knock on Bryce. Let me be clear. We're talking fantasy. That's different. I would draft Blake Bortles at some point over some quarterbacks because I'm talking fantasy. The reason why I would choose Richardson and Stroud, particularly Stroud, the reason why I would pick those two guys over Bryce is because I feel like those two guys are going to be behind more, which means they'll be forced to throw the ball more, which means they got to make more plays.
Who's Stroud throwing to, though?
Don't matter. If you behind, you behind. It don't matter who you throwing to. I could give a damn who you throwing to. I could care less. You behind, you behind. I don't know who Blake Bortles was throwing to. For some reason, he was getting all these points. I mean, if you're making a decision to go with a rookie quarterback, you only need 15 points from the guy, 12 to 15 points a week. Because that means you drafted him late. You ain't reaching for him. That means you built your roster with good running backs, good wide receivers, and a good bench. So you don't really need to worry too much. You just need to get somebody that's going to get you 12 to 15 points a week. Could CMC's fantasy production take a hit since he's on a stacked roster? Did it take a hit last year? No, it didn't. Still one of the top guys when he went to San Francisco. So no, he'll be fine. Swift is drafted a little bit later, but it's Philadelphia, man. You're gonna have multiple running backs there, but not like late, like in the middle of the pack. I didn't talk too much about the Bryce video with the game, but I did notice that Mingo wasn't there. But I guess he was working out in Mississippi with some other folks. And shout out to Sheena Quick for letting folks know about that, because people were asking the question about where Mingo was at, but he was working out with other folks in Mississippi.
Shot Smith there?
I don't. I guess I don't know. I mean, I don't take too much of the work off it. I appreciate the fact that Bryce is focused on perfecting his craft. I ain't paying too much attention about who's there, who's not. I mean, I know that Thielen was there, so but it's good to see that Bryce is out here getting ready because training camp's not too far away. Let me see something. Something I want to make sure I didn't miss. Oh, I've drafted CMC number 1 overall right now, but I got to go back and reevaluate. But I think CMC is still number 1 overall. I haven't sent the official rankings out to my Patreons yet, but CMC's near the top. I mean, he's top 3. I'll tell you that. like I think folks are getting scared of the injury situation, but nah, CMC's up there, bro, because of the production. I think you gotta have some discussions on how you feel about. I know you're always going to be scared about the amount of talent that the 49ers have, but at the same time, we got a data point that CMC can still produce even with all that talent that they had. So
they're not going to be airing it out with the quarterbacks they have. Purdy's not going to be back.
Who are you taking, Jonathan Taylor or CMC?
I'm taking CMC. No question. Jonathan Taylor's an interesting one because you got to remember where the head coach of the new head coach of the Colts came from. He came from a team that would use multiple running backs. That scares me a little bit. Now, if I was him, I would be using Jonathan Taylor more, but that still scares me a little bit.
You don't think with are they running with Sam Ellinger or whoever they have? You don't think they're gonna rely on the run game more?
if they're going to rely on the run game more, considering how much injuries considering the injury history that the Jonathan Taylor went through last season, that gives them more reason to split the work up. And considering that you have a team, you have a coach that came through an offensive scheme that split the work up at the running back position, that scares me a bit. It does. It makes me concerned. I mean, do I know that's for a fact that what they're going to do? No. But it doesn't give me a reason to give pause about whether or not they're going to do something like that. So, I mean, yeah, the quarterback situation, but they're not going to roll with Sam Ellinger and Indy. Anthony Richardson is starting. And then you got to factor that in, too. Because Richardson's probably going to run. He's going to run a little bit. People always talk about how much of an athlete he is, so you know he's going to run the ball a little bit.
You think AR is going to start this year?
Oh, yeah, he's going to start this year. Absolutely, he's going to start this year.
Did they pick up like a veteran backup for him outside of Ellinger?
I don't think so, but I haven't checked. I haven't been looking, I'll be honest, but I don't think so. Kyler Murray's going to be with the Cardinals. It's just a matter when he's going to be ready.
They have Gardner Minshew. Yeah, that's there.
Oh, they got Minshew there?
Yeah.
I mean, I still think AR is gonna. I think AR will be started within the first month. Like the game that I picked for this season. I'm gonna, because it's during the same weekend as homecoming, during G-Ho. I'm going the same game when they play the Colts. By November, Anthony Richardson will be starting for the Colts. I'm pretty sure of it. Like, I'm pretty confident of it. Who's my sleeper at wide receiver as a rookie? Oh, God. Zay Flowers. But I don't know if that's a sleeper. And the thing is, I want to say Xavier Smith from LA, but I don't know if he's going to get enough traction in LA. And I think Mingo is going to be interesting. I think Mingo is the type of guy that might put on in November, December. Like, he could potentially win you a championship. Like, he's not a guy that you can draft right now, but he's the guy that could potentially win you a championship later near the end of the season. I think he was going to probably gain traction near the end of the year. I don't think he's going to be a guy that's going to be, like, doing this thing at the beginning. But I think he's a guy that could potentially win you one near the end of the year.
I think people also forgot about Calvin Ridley. I think he's going to be a sleeper, too.
As long as you don't gamble. As long as you don't gamble. You saw there was some more players that got for gambling recently, right?
Yeah.
As long as you don't gamble. They serious about that gambling thing, man. Who's my number one defensive draft? This is a good question. Who's your number one defensive draft? Whoever's available in the 16th round. I don't think too much about the defenses, guys. Like, I just want you guys to know that. A lot of the times I just rotate.
The right defense.
Yeah, I don't
15, 20 points.
Yeah, but like you're not gonna get you don't always get that consistently. And I've shown the numbers where like typically there's always a defense that's in the bottom 5 that ends up in the top 10 in the following season. So you don't know. Like if I think off the top of my head right now, I would think that I would look at the AFC South. The reason why I would look at the AFC South is because you got Stroud in that division, you got Richardson in that division, you got Trevor Lawrence in that division. What's the other team in that? You got the Colts, and then you got Levis in that division. So the Jags defense is interesting. Like off the top of my head, this is how much I think about defenses in fantasy football. Off the top of my head, I would be thinking about the Jaguars defense because they get to play Richardson, they get to play Stroud, and they get to play Levis twice a year. That off the top of my head, that's what I'm thinking. Because they get to play 3 rookie quarterbacks twice a year potentially. So I would say Jags defense. Off that. Because you're gonna have rookie quarterbacks, they're gonna make mistakes, potentially throw interceptions, potentially hold the ball too long, get sacked. Those are fantasy points. That's what I'm thinking. That's just off the top of my head. Ain't got nothing to do with, these players, blah, blah. No. All about the fact that they're going up against rookie quarterbacks. I would just do that. It could, but if you ask me of a season-long defense, off the top of my head right now, I would say Jaguars. And I could easily change this tomorrow when I sit down and look at the other 31 teams in the league. But I'm thinking about it from the perspective of I get to play I get to have games with 6 rookie quarterbacks. Actually, 7. Because I believe don't we play the AFC South this year, if I remember correctly?
We play the Texans.
Yeah, so we play the AFC South this year. We play the Jags too. So they're gonna get to play 7 They're gonna get to play 7 games against rookie quarterbacks this year. So not a knock to Bryce Young, but it's just what it is. So we get to play 7 rookie quarterbacks this year. I would go with the Jags defense off that alone. But I'm typically a week-to-week guy. I typically just stream every week. I'll go into the waiver wire and I just pick a defense that I think that makes sense. Unless I got one that's good enough that's already on my roster. I don't take too much time. Just like kicker. I don't take too much time.
To be fair, we play Baker Mayfield, so that's like 30 points that week.
He might have a revenge game on us, man. You never know.
You can't get the right kicker. You can get 15, 20 a week.
That's true. That's true. If you got Justin Tucker. So it all depends on the perspective of it all. Let's see here. John, I'm with you, bro. That's what I do. Unless I fall into like a defense that ends up being the top guy. Like one year, like last year, I fell into the Patriots defense. Just happens. What can you do?
Midway through the year, you just find out who the sacks that team is and then just stream them. Whoever plays them every week. I've done that.
Yep, you could do that for defenses, you could do that for kicker, and you can do that for tight ends. I would stream tight ends. Be like, which team is the worst against tight ends? Oh, this one is? Who's their starting tight end? Oh, this guy? I'm gonna pick him up. They're gonna be like, who's this guy that got a touchdown? Oh, this team is terrible against tight ends. Look, man, that's how you strategize with daily fantasy too, and underdog fantasy as well. Sometimes when it comes to receptions or TDs. So it's a good way to make money. But all right, this was fun, guys. Rashad didn't make it. I gave him an hour. No, not Miles Sanders or Bijan. I ain't crazy. Okay, I'm not crazy. I'm a lot of things, but crazy I'm not. Now Bijan's high on my list, bro. I think the Falcons' offense is going to be Bijan Robinson. We're gonna have to change the Falcons' name to the Atlanta Bijans. Like they're gonna run him to the ground, bro. But I think Bijan Robinson's special. I know how some folks feel about drafting a running back that high, but I think Bijan Robinson is special. I don't think he's gonna. Yeah, that split ain't gonna matter, bro. What's the split? 25-5? That ain't a split. Like that ain't a split. 2010. Bijan's getting at least 20 touches. If your running back's getting 20 touches, I ain't worried about no split, bro. But all right, man, I'm about to shut this thing down. This was fun. Congrats, V. Rashad, I already sent a text to Rashad, but I know Rashad's busy. He's definitely going to reach out to you. But I'll let him know.
I appreciate it.
But I'm going to let you guys go, and I'm going to shut this thing down. This was a fun episode. Rashad should be back next week, and I should be at my new place next week if all goes well. So you guys have a lovely evening, and make sure if you haven't done so already, make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. Follow us on Twitter at Panther Nation PC. You can follow me on Twitter at ChampD1012. Shout out to the Queen City Podcast Network. We're streaming pretty much. We're live. We go live. Our podcast is available on Wednesday by noontime on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, everywhere where you can get your podcast. We're going to be available. So shout out to the Queen City Podcast Network for that. Shout out to Underdog Fantasy. And with that, we're out, guys. Peace.